So today we have this ACER monitor that stopped turning on. Let's plug it in for you to see what the problem is. So it connects to this 3-pin connection. There it is. Solid. And it doesn't show a display or a standby light, nothing. So I'm assuming it's the button. Let's check that out. So to start, we will remove the feet from this monitor. We just need to push this little lever as far as we can and then lift it up. This is the first time that this monitor is being disassembled, so it's normal that it takes a while to figure it out and to remove it. So with the base removed, now we need to completely remove the foot from it, which has some screws over here that we need to undo. So let's take these nuts away first, and then we take the screws out. With these out of the way, let's then remove the Phillips screws, which are 4 in total. And to take the frame out, we need to use a plastic plier and pull it out until we manage to remove the back panel so we can access the board. So with that out of the way, we have now our board that we need to take a look at. Let's just remove the 2 Phillips screws and then remove it from its position. There's just a small white connector that we need to undo, and then we will take a look at these buttons. So multimeter and continuity, the first button on the row next to the LED is the on and off button that is not working. So let's test the other buttons and see if they have a different reaction from the one of the on and off. So it's supposed to beep when I press the button. This first one that I tested is not working as well. And this one is working. As you can see, it beeps. So on the on and off button, as you can see, I will put the connections in place. Sorry, they are not on screen, but I'm pressing the button and nothing happens. So this button is toast. We need to replace it. What I will do is just replace it with a working one that usually I don't use. So we will then have a functional button. I also have these car remote switches. I'll see if any of those is compatible with these buttons that I have here. Let's just explore a little bit of what we have in terms of sizes and connections. This looks very similar, but it's very low, so it will not be pressed when we put it back in place. This one, it does have the correct size in terms of button pressing, should work, but does not have 4 pins, only has 2. Unless I put it like this, sideways, that it connects to the both ends of the button, and eventually I will need to bridge them. One of the sides is ground, the other one is where you do the connection. So it may work. So we'll test it. We'll test it from the button that we'll be removing to replace this one that doesn't work. We will place this one there, and then let's go from there. So first things first, let's remove the button that is not working using a bit of flux to help this old solder flow. Let's then add a bit of leaded solder so that it flows a little bit easier. This way we can then apply heat so that the solder blends with the old solder, and then we can use a solder sucker to remove these blobs and the button. Now with the solder sucker, let's heat up the solder and then just suck it up to remove it from the pad. And we repeat the process in all 4 pads. Done with the solder sucker, let's use some wick to remove the remains of solder here so that we can then push the button out. And there it is, easy as that. So that's the broken button. As you can see, it has two connections that are open or closed according to the button position. So let's then remove the good button, the good known button. We will use the exact same procedure, so I will forward this a little bit. And now this is the part where we place the good known button on the old broken button position. And we will use the same process but just reversed. We will put the button in place and then we add the solder to fix it. So for the sake of the video, let's test the button and see what happens when we press it. This is the broken button, by the way. As you can see, pretty random results. It's open, then it closes itself, then it opens again, and it really does nothing when I press the button. So this one is definitely a goner. So I will then try to watch this one in place, and then we will test it once we have it in circuit and on the monitor, because this will be the menu button. So what I'm thinking here is I will put the button sideways so it connects to the both ends that needed a connection, and then I'll just use a bridge between the solder points so that the button does exactly the same as the other, but only with 2 pins. So let's go for it. We will first straighten these pins so that they go into the little holes over there. So as you can see, it has almost the perfect size to fit these two little holes. So I will be using the legs from the broken button to work as a support on the new button that I will be placing. So in the making of this, I found out that the easier way to do is to put a little bit of solder on the hole that we need to fill with this little leg, and then we will just apply heat from one side and push the leg in through the other side, as you will be seeing here. So this way we have both of the legs on this side of the board, so then we can just apply a little bit of solder on the ends of them and put our button in place, so we can solder it to these little legs, and then we will have a solid connection from one side to the other. So let's now do a little connection test to see if we have been successful or not. And there it is, it's working. So let's just see if we will have a connection on this new button as well. This is kinda hard to have a good connection, but the button seems to be working randomly as well, but well, we'll give it a shot and see what happens. If it fails, we will put a button just like the one we just did on the other side. So let's now clean the area with isopropyl alcohol to remove the remains of flux. So here, with the board already in place, let's then do a test and see if we have a connection. So I just plugged it in, let's press the button, and there we go, it's working. So I'm just trying to test this button, but I believe it only works when the monitor is completely on. So we'll need to connect it to the computer and see if our little fix on the menu button will work or not. For the moment, the main issue that it was not turning on because of the button is now fixed. So firstly, I will just, for safety, bridge these two connections on the menu button so that we are sure that it will do a proper connection between the two sides or the two hold pins. So here, with the monitor assembled, let's then test the menu button. And it is working flawlessly. So we can use a button with 2 pins instead of 4. Let's do a test on the on and off. So let's press it. So we need to keep on pressing until it goes off. Let's turn it back on. And there it is. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you on the next video.